should I talk?
Welcome to the virtual Idaho Job and Career Fair. We're glad you are with us today. In normal circumstances, we'd rather be in person, but we're happy that you're able to join us at least virtually today, and we have a great show for you. We want to give a special thanks to our sponsors for making this event happen today. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have been able to put this on. So special thanks to TDS Fiber, Atlas Staffing, Express Employment Services, Simplot, Continuum Global Services, Special Event Staffing, and Jobu Jobs. Thanks a lot for making this event possible. We also have a great show for you today, and so whether you are joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, or from idahocareerfair.com, thank you for being with us. And we will also be broadcasting this live in other platforms, but also replaying this recording for you after this event is over. We have an awesome lineup of guest speakers today with us. So I'm going to just cover briefly who's going to be coming up on the main stage, and then I'll talk about our networking rooms shortly. We have Camus Freeman with Stackrock Talent. She's going to be talking about how to ace your virtual interview. Then we're going to have Tony Sutton and Dave Zemlicka join us from TDS. They're going to talk about their expansion into Idaho and how they're bringing jobs to the valley. And then we have Lance Caldor from the Idaho Department of Labor, who's going to be talking about resources beyond just unemployment. We have Madeline White with Channel 6 News, and she's going to be talking about the Rebound Idaho initiative and how they have other resources for job seekers. And then we're going to wrap up with Ray Allen from Peppershock Media, and she's going to be talking about personal branding for your next job. It's really important. Sometimes we talk about personal branding and we think of it from a company perspective or a product or service, but it's just as important for you as a job seeker to have your personal branding shine so you could get that next job. Again, after we get through the main stage here today from 11 to 1 o'clock, we're going to go into our networking rooms where you, the viewer, will have a chance to interact with these companies here in the Treasure Valley who are hiring. And what's different about this is that you will have access to those HR representatives, those recruiters from the specific company, and you're going to hear about their company, their culture, their teams, and their jobs that they're hiring. And more importantly, they'll also give you direct access to how to apply for those jobs. So please stick with us after we're done here at the main stage, and you'll be able to enter those networking rooms on idahocareerfair.com. So be sure to check those out. Again, thanks to the sponsors. And without further ado, let's introduce our first speaker, Camus Freeman with Stackrock Talent. So Camus is with Stackrock Talent, and they're a human resource firm based here in Boise, specializing in people operations consulting, recruiting, and career coaching. Please help me welcome Camus Freeman.
Thank you.
Hi, Camus.
Hi.
So I mentioned at the beginning here that you're a talent strategist. Mm-hmm. I know what a recruiter is, but can you tell the audience a little bit more, what's a talent strategist?
Sure. So really it's just looking at a company from a perspective of HR, talent acquisition, the employee experience, and really how that aligns with the overall business strategy. So it's just a more holistic look at their overall talent strategy. Yeah.
Okay, great. And now you've been in this a long time, and you've actually become a subject matter expert here in the Treasure Valley when it comes to recruiting. Can you tell us a little bit about your history and your experiences?
Sure. So I've been in human resources and recruiting for a little over 15 years. I've worked in various industries, various size companies, everything from tech startups where we're hiring 50 people a year to larger global organizations where we're hiring 1,800 people a year. So I've interviewed a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, speaking of interviewing, I think we know what an in-person interview is, but we're here to talk about a virtual interview. Can you tell us a little bit what constitutes a virtual interview?
Sure. So, really, a virtual interview is an interview that's conducted remotely. So, it could be a phone interview as well. But what we're really focused on today is the video interview with what's happened over the last few months, the increase in the need for companies to interview candidates over Zoom, and really that will be continuing for a while. So it's really important for candidates to get familiar and comfortable with interviewing over video.
Great. And is there really a difference between an in-person interview versus a virtual interview?
So quite a bit of it's actually the same, but really because you are over video, there are going to be some special considerations. There's just kind of that barrier of communication that you need to be able to convey over video that's not the same as in person, like those kind of body language and facial expressions and things like that. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's say the job seeker, they just landed that interview and it's going to be on video.
Yeah.
What do they need to do next?
So really, they need to prepare, just like you would in a normal interview. They need to make sure that they really understand the job description, what the company is looking for, which they should have done in the resume process, which then ultimately got them the interview. But really making sure that their skills and experience align. And know who they're going to be interviewing with. So you really want to make sure, and most recruiters are going to provide that information, but if they don't, it's good to ask what their name is, what their role is in with the company. Is it HR? Is it the hiring manager? Making sure you know who you're going to be speaking with. And then a big one, doing your research. So as a recruiter in HR that I've talked to many people, we can always tell when candidates have or haven't researched the company. There's a ton of information out there. You want to look at their company website, their social pages, what kind of content that they're posting, so that you can speak to that or ask questions throughout the interview that lets them know you've done your research. And then you also want to find somebody that maybe you know or a connection at the company. You can find somebody on LinkedIn and find out what's the interview process like, maybe a little bit more about the department. That's really going to give you some good insight as you're preparing for the interview. And you also kind of want to know, what are those common interview questions? Everyone that's interviewed, there's kind of those common questions that get asked, like what are your strengths? What interests you in this role? What are some challenges you've had previously? So be prepared to answer those and answer them with specific examples. So whether it's maybe a project, something specific to a project that you worked on, or it's quantifiable. So make sure you kind of have those examples, like if you have a cost savings or something you implemented that resulted in revenue generation, you want to have those examples, and also come up with questions for your interview, not only throughout, so that it is a two-way conversation, but also at the end. That things like, have I answered all your questions? And then maybe find out a little bit about the culture. A good way to do that is ask the interviewer what they like most about working there. That can kind of give you some really good insight. Yeah.
And what about when it comes to practicing? I mean, so a virtual interview is totally, a little bit different when we're getting ready to get ready for it.
Yeah.
What about practicing? What do you recommend for getting ready for that video interview?
Sure. So practicing is super important. And again, all the things we've talked about so far are the same that you would do in an in-person interview as you would for a virtual interview. But you find a friend, find a professional colleague, and do a mock interview, preferably over video, so that you have that opportunity to practice. And practice on your own. You definitely want to go through it multiple times, and speaking out loud. A lot of times people kind of practice and they're talking to, in their head, but it's really helpful if you're actually speaking out loud to recall that information when you're in the interview.
Okay. And I'm a big notes guy, so I like to, when I prepare and I practice, I like to have my notes from the questions, so I just sound better during that interview. What about notes in a virtual environment? What do we need to do from a notes perspective?
Yeah, so notes are good also, and I would say this is one area that maybe is an advantage to being in a virtual interview because you can put a couple of post-it notes maybe on your screen with kind of some of those key things like remember your strengths or some of those quantifiable examples that you can quickly glance at to reference. You definitely don't want to be reading off of notes while you're in there, and definitely taking notes as you would in an in-person interview with different information that the interviewer is providing is okay as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in a virtual setting, how much does your surroundings matter, and what do we need to do there?
So they matter a lot. It's really important to essentially set the stage for your interview, and you want to do it ahead of time in advance as soon as you have an idea that you are going to have this interview. And one of the top things that you need to be sure to do is to remove any distractions. So I'm sure probably at this point everyone's seen this video where the newscaster and his kids walk in and his wife comes. So we don't want that to happen, and just planning ahead, taking care of arrangements or whatever you need to do for kids, pets, roommates, whatever your situation is, so you don't have those distractions during your interview. And you also want to check your background. So this is something I feel like sometimes gets overlooked where they're not considering what's in the background, but I'll tell you, they are looking at the background. And you want to make sure it's kind of, professional or plain looking. And if you're having your interview from home, you might be in an office, an extra bedroom or something like that, and just a plain wall is totally fine. You probably don't want like a rock concert poster or something in the background unless you're actually, applying for a job in music or something like that. So definitely having something plain or professional.
Well, and what we've seen recently too is that, we're talking about the KISS poster in the background. We've seen all these virtual backgrounds,
Yes.
and some of them are really funny. But what about virtual backgrounds for your interview?
Yes.
What do we need to be prepared there?
Great question. So yeah, some of them are really funny, but probably not a time in an interview to have it look like lava's pouring on you or something like that. So here's some kind of examples of virtual backgrounds. The one on the top left is one that you could use, and I think it's okay to use those. Not everybody has the right setup in their home, and this could be beneficial to you. And I have a resource page that I actually created on my website, and there's going to be a link in there on where you can get virtual backgrounds if that's something you needed. So I'll kind of share that at the end. But yes, so virtual backgrounds are okay.
Okay. Yeah. And then you wanted to hit on a few things with kind of the more surroundings with lighting and a few other things. What do you got there?
So a couple other consideration is your lighting, and this is actually pretty big one where you do want to make sure that the light is directly on your face. It's not too high or too low where it's creating shadows on your face. And one thing too, kind of a trick, is to use two different lights so that you have one on each side to eliminate kind of any shadows or things that might be coming. And also limit your background light. You don't want to set up your video call so that maybe a window's in your background. That just creates dark on you, and you kind of want to have a nice lighting on your face. And then as far as positioning, you don't want to be too far, but you don't want to be too close. So you want to be close enough that they can kind of see your facial expressions and feel like they're connecting with you, but not so far away that they can't see that, and not so close that just your face is in the screen as well.
Okay. And what do we have to be worried about for what we're wearing? Like, what do we need to dress in these virtual environments?
Sure. This is actually a question I get asked a lot, especially the last 3 months. And the answer is really dress like you normally would for an in-person interview. And, that's going to vary somewhat based on the type of role you're interviewing for and maybe the industry. For example, if you're applying for a construction role versus maybe a corporate banking role. But when in doubt, always side on the side of formality if you're not sure. So just dress like you would for a normal interview. And my kind of what not to do, I think, again, we've seen a lot of videos and things, the memes the last few months about, people on Zoom calls. And so now's not a good time to kind of be relaxed about, having business on top, jammies on the bottom. No, you want to come with your complete outfit just in case something happens.
And I know you talked a little bit about, the positioning of the screen, but also when we're, where do we look at the screen? But also, does body language matter? Because I know in a real in-person interview, body language kind of gives you some signs and facial expressions.
Yes.
But in this virtual environment, does body language matter? And where do we look when we're looking at that screen?
Yeah, so it's not super easy, but you do want to try and make eye contact with the screen, and the person you're going to be speaking with is going to be in the same position as you. And if you're looking at their image in the screen, it is going to look mostly like you're making that eye contact, and it's also easier for you to engage with them. And you don't want to have a ton of movement with your hands. I'm personally a hand talker, and so I have to kind of clasp my hands to kind of keep that under control. And so you don't want to sit there statue-like, but you definitely want to limit movement. And because you are maybe in your home, it's more relaxed environment. You want to be, feel comfortable. You don't want to be too comfortable. So you don't want to be slouching. You don't want to be eating or drinking. Of course, having a glass of water is fine, but just be aware of that body language. And smile, that's a big one. It's not on there, but as soon as you start that interview and that person comes on, a nice smile, that'll immediately create that engagement and really relax yourself as well.
As I'm smiling right now. So good reminder.
Yeah.
You just went through some great tips with preparing, setting the tone, practicing. What's the last thing we really need to do when it comes to preparing to ace this virtual interview?
So the last thing is testing your technology. As soon as you find out that you are going to have an interview, you want to test everything: your internet connection, your camera, your mic. As far as internet connection, there's sites like speedtest.net that you can test that connection speed. If it's low, I know TDS is on after this. Maybe you can reach out to them, make sure that you have that in place. And then the day of your interview, you want to test it again. Don't wait till 5 minutes before, but you do want to test it because you never know if maybe your kiddo, somebody got on your computer, changed your settings, things like that. So just making sure that everything's ready. We know employers are really looking for people that are, have a technical aptitude, and so this is a good way to show that you're able to use technology in a work type environment.
Great.
Yeah.
And obviously with technology, most of us are carrying around our phones.
Yeah.
And so is it okay to go ahead and use that phone for a virtual interview?
So the answer is yes. A mobile device like a phone, iPad is okay as long as it's stationary, or that you took all the considerations we just talked about in terms of lighting and how you have it set up, you're centered. It is okay to use that if that's what you have available. So as long as you're not walking around or carrying it or moving it around.
Okay. Well, we covered a lot of stuff today for the job seekers that are at home right now. And I know a lot of it seems intuitive, but it's often missed, right? I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are people that video interviewing it's new to them, and then there's people who've been doing it a long time. I think maybe the thought is that if it's over video, they don't need to be prepared as much, but in my opinion, it's actually the opposite with the technology piece and just kind of these special considerations that they absolutely need to prepare.
Yeah, and especially in this day and age, with everything moving to this virtual environment for these interviews, you really want to set yourself apart. So
Right.
even though it may be intuitive and they're like, oh, this is obvious, we just got to follow these steps, they really need to take the time to go through this checklist that you just went through to really give them the best chance at moving to the top for some of, besides just the credentials. So what are some of the key takeaways that you want to reinforce today from your presentation?
Yeah, I think ultimately, if you are really serious about getting the role that you're interviewing for, that you want to invest the time in preparing yourself, preparing your technology, and preparing your surroundings for a successful video interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so really all these are going to be on your site. So we talked a lot about resources. You mentioned you have some resource links.
Yes.
But again, you're a recruiter, career coaching. So for the people at home, how do they go access some of these resources we talked about today, and how do they get in touch with you?
Sure. So come to our website, stackrocktalent.com. At the bottom of the page, in the bottom section, there is a link called resources. So I've put some more information about some of the things we talked about, and I'll actually post this whole presentation out there as well. And if anyone has any questions, they can email us at beawesome@stackrocktalent.com. And also connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, because we post weekly job search tips out there as well. And any questions, we're happy to connect with people.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, what a great resource. Camus, I thank you so much for being here today. Hopefully it was valuable for the people at home. Again, this will be recorded, so people, if we might have rushed through some notes, we'll get this back posted online at idahocareerfair.com. But thanks again, Camus, for being here. Truly enjoyed it. Very informative. And please stick with us. We'll be right back in a few minutes with TDS. We have Tony Sutton and Dave Zemlicka, and they're going to be talking about the expansion into the Idaho market and also bringing jobs to Idaho. So really excited about that segment. So stick with us and we'll be right back. Thank you.
The Idaho Job and Career Fair has been going on for over 20 years. It started with 1 to 2 job fairs a year in Boise, and now it's grown to running about every other month in a calendar year in the entire Treasure Valley, and we reach everybody from Mountain Home all the way over to Payette, Ontario area. The Idaho Job and Career Fair offers different avenues for making that connection between the employer and the job seeker, whether it's face-to-face or virtually, so it makes a good fit for everyone. The job seeker can expect to come into the Idaho Job and Career Fair and connect directly with the companies that are hiring, so they can meet and find out what jobs they have available versus taking the time to go out on the internet and having to look at multiple companies and then dropping their resume on a job board that they may never hear anything back from. So this gives them an opportunity to speak with those companies and find out if there's a fit. It typically has 50 to 70 different companies. It covers a wide range of industries, so job seekers have a wide variety of opportunities. We hope to see you at the next Idaho Job and Career Fair.
TDS Fiber is about to revolutionize the way you work and play, big time. Our state-of-the-art fiber optic network will deliver today's premium internet, TV, and phone services and prepare your home or business for the technologies of tomorrow. Get ready for amazing technology. TDS Fiber, it's big time.
All right, I want to welcome everyone back to the Mainstage here with TDS, who's actually our Mainstage sponsor. So with us today, we have Tony Sutton and Dave Zemlicka with TDS. So we're really excited about this next segment. They're going to be talking about the expansion into Idaho, and with that, they're bringing in additional jobs. So we're pretty excited about that. So welcome, Tony. Welcome, Dave. Thanks for being with us today. So for those that might not be familiar with who TDS is, can you give a brief rundown on TDS?
Oh, absolutely. So TDS is actually, our parent company is Telephone and Data Systems. They're out of Chicago. And they own TDS, they own One Neck IT Solutions, Huddle Strauss, they own US Cellular. So it's a very large company, and we are family owned still, but it's publicly traded. So it's a very unique situation. And we are listed on the Fortune 1000 list, so that's kind of exciting. So TDS Telecom is actually headquartered in Madison, Wisconsin. So that's where we're expanding from. And just a little bit more, so TDS has been around, or Telephone Data Systems has been around for 51 years, because telecommunications has been around for a long time. What TDS today looks like is, that we are covering a lot of the U.S. So we have 1.2 million residential and business connections and 2,700 employees throughout the U.S. And we're really proud to offer some of the fastest internet speeds in the country. So we really specialize in bringing communications to rural America. So going into areas like Idaho, and where you see on the map here. And one of the great things about TDS is our slogan is it's all about delighting customers with great service. And it's such a great slogan, because it's, okay, are they happy? Well, no, are they delighted? So that's kind of exciting.
Great. And both Tony, yourself, and Dave, you're from here, right? You're from the Treasure Valley.
Yes.
So, that's also really important. You're here local, this environment, and not only the Treasure Valley, but Idaho as well. So.
Yes, and that's really important to the company, because we have like a field supervisor, a field service manager who came from Wisconsin, because there's a lot of detail involved in building a fiber network, because this is not an adaptation, this is not an upgrade, this is a build. So the way internet works is your slowest speed is your oldest technology. So this is 100% fiber optics. So to have someone with that level of expertise, because we went into Coeur d'Alene first, and then coming down here. So we have someone who can really spearhead this. But for other positions, we're really trying to go local. So Dave was employee number 2 in this market. I was employee number 3. So and now we have quite a team, but are here to look for more people. So it is ground floor. So it's very exciting to be here and be part of the community. So
well, and that's great, and we're happy to have you, because this is perfect timing. With the jobs, we need this. So why did you choose the Treasure Valley and Idaho in particular as an expansion market?
So when TDS looks for places to go, those of us who live here would say the Treasure Valley stands out for everything, right? But one of the things that they're looking for are markets that are maybe underserved. And, I think in the last few months, a lot of us have found that maybe our internet speeds could be a little better. Or, maybe we were struggling a little with everyone hitting the internet. So, it just was a good place for us to go, because there's maybe not a lot of technology happening, and not a lot of options. So that really resonated with us. So, and it's really a vibrant, growing community. I know Idaho is struggling with some growth issues, but we still have a lot going on. Even with the downturn and what's happened, this is still a very vibrant community. So, we still have businesses opening, we still have things happening, businesses are expanding. So having a really robust network, it was important when they selected Meridian. Now, with telecommuting and video conferencing and everything that's happened, it is essential. So, an area that is going to need internet now and definitely need it in the future. And the great thing about fiber to the home is that it's future-proof.
Right.
A lot of us might be old enough to actually remember pre-internet, but there's so many different technologies that come out, and fiber is state of the art. So we're not retrofitting, we're not just kind of piecemeal. It's complete fiber. So, what we're going to do with the build is actually connect 57,000 homes and businesses within the Treasure Valley with this build. So
That's great.
yeah, it's amazing. And I wish I had looked up to see how many miles of fiber that was, because and this is, it's a utility, so it's a very big thing. So
Well, and with this expansion comes jobs. So Dave, tell us about some of the job opportunities that exist right now with TDS and what's available.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're hiring in a couple different areas. We are hiring for field technicians, which are actually going to be out servicing this network. And then we also have some sales roles that are available. Direct sales roles that would be going door to door residential, hooking up the customers so that they can have these fine services.
Great. And with your jobs that you have available, TDS has some great benefits that come with these jobs, right? You want to hit on that?
Yeah, fantastic benefit package. So obviously you get full medical, vision, dental, paid time off, vacation, sick leave. We have a very generous 401k plan with company matching. We have competitive base salaries for every position that we're offering. And in the sales role, you also get a commission structure with unlimited earning potential. So, and in addition to that, we have monthly incentives and bonuses, so it can be a really lucrative career at TDS.
All right, and I think we actually have a slide on some of those benefits, right, Tony?
Yes.
So, and I think Dave just covered these. And Dave, did you talk about that education reimbursement?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic thing. So after 1 year with the company, you can enroll in university, and TDS will pay for it.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yes.
So, again, and we'll talk a little bit more in a little bit about your HR and recruiting representatives that are going to be live with us a little later today, but we'll hold that. But Tony, you mentioned that bandwidth caused some problems when we had really the shutdown, and a lot of people were forced to move their offices to the home.
Yes.
But fiber is an ideal option. So, Dave, can you tell us a little bit why? Well, first of all, what is fiber?
Right.
And then why is this really maybe an ideal solution?
Well, fiber is the most cutting-edge technology to transport internet, TV, and phone directly to a consumer's home. And it is the fastest platform currently available, and it is a fiber optic, hair-thin cable that connects directly to your home that transmits data at the speed of light. So there is nothing faster currently on the market.
Great.
And I think one thing that, we've had some crazy weather, here in Boise in the last month. And one thing that fiber optics is really not sensitive to weather, because it's glass. So it's really, it's not going to be taken out by thunderstorms, electrical storms, which we all had last week, so that's very exciting to have a more robust network. So
Great. And you talked about fiber being an affordable option. What does it cost for those at home, whether they're for their business, for their home? What does that look like?
That's the really exciting thing that we're offering here. So not only are you going to get improved services, but we're going to be able to save you some money as well. And we're offering internet packages starting as low as $35 a month. We've got TV packages at $25 a month, and we can get your phone going for $19.99 a month. So you're going to have better service, and we're likely going to save you some money.
That's great. So not only do you have affordable options, you're bringing in jobs, you're expanding. There's a lot of good things from TDS.
Yes.
Now, if Tony, do you want to tell us a little bit for those that are home? Where do they find out this information? Again,
sure.
Whether they're looking for services or they're looking to actually for those jobs.
Sure.
Where do they need to go to get more information?
So they can visit TDS Fiber, and I'll switch to that in a second. One of the things that I just wanted to bring up that is also a benefit that we offer is TDS every year pays its employees for 16 hours of community service. Because, you know, we talked about this network we're building, and clearly that's a huge investment in the community. And we have, you know, HR benefits, so training. You know, I just did a training session last week. So, you know, we invest in our employees. We're really, really dedicated to that. We are also really committed to investing in the community. So, you know, between the volunteer hours and then, you know, just this spring, I mean, with everything that's happened, we've been involved with Meridian Food Bank, and we're a sponsor of Meridian Canine Rescue. And because so many programs have been canceled this summer and so many activities, we're sponsoring the library reading programs at Garden City Public Library, the Ada Community Libraries, and Meridian Public Library. And possibly one of the things that would be my favorite project ever I got to work on, Nick at Idaho, or the Meridian Library District, had this great program where they were making 3D masks with their printers and they came to us and said, hey, could you help us buy this plastic film, and we can make 2,000 face shields for medical workers. And my team was so excited we had to send pictures afterwards, because it was just, everyone was so excited that we could do this. So, you know, we are here as a community partner. We're here to hire people. We're here to bring you internet. So if any part of that sounds like an exciting thing, or you do have questions, you want to see if we're coming to your neighborhood, because it does take a little bit of time to 57,000 homes do not connect themselves. So this is going to take a while. So which build you're in, if you're slated for one of the early builds, you can visit tdsfiber.com, and there's a place to look at both business services and residential. So you can look at that. You can also check out our career opportunities at tdsfiber.com, careers. It's probably at the bottom of the page. And right now, I know there are some hiring, but we have 3 offices here in town. So we have the service office, we have a sales office, and then we are soon to be opening our retail center. So, you know, there are just more and more jobs coming. You can follow our page so that you can really watch for jobs. If maybe sales is not your fit, then maybe customer service is a fit, or if you have some technical skills, definitely those are always coming up, because this is a very big endeavor. So yeah, it's a great place to visit.
Well, and from a personal experience, you know, I know it's just not lip service when it comes to that community partnerships and the giving back to the community. I see the TDS team doing these volunteer efforts, and I know that means a lot for our community, and we thank you for that. And it's nice to see a company give back to their community and having an active role.
Well,
regarding the jobs, so we have later today at 1:30 in networking room 1, after the main stage is over, TDS HR and some of the recruiters are going to be online in that networking room, so that they could be available to talk to the job seekers at home. So we encourage them to join and listen more about the details Dave talked about with those jobs, more about the company, more about the culture, and then they're going to be on to answer any of those questions about the company and the job. So definitely encourage the job seekers to jump into those networking rooms. Again, they're on idahocareerfair.com on the virtual job fair landing page. And again, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you bet.
Thank you for sponsoring the main stage today. But we appreciate you, and we're glad that TDS is expanding into Idaho. And thank you again for being here.
Oh, thanks. And
Thanks
thank
for
you
having
to
us.
your team for all the work that they did to really make this happen, because we were so excited to be able to make this help make this happen for you. So
Good.
yeah.
And speaking of the next segment, we have coming up Lance Caldor with the Idaho Department of Labor. He's going to be talking about resources beyond just employment. So it's going to be an informative segment. So not only are we going to touch on unemployment and the stats, but we're going to provide resources that the Idaho Department of Labor has for job seekers, and those resources are going to be coming up. So you won't want to miss this next segment. So stick around. We'll be right back, and see you soon.
The Experience Idaho Expo is a full-day event highlighting the incredible people, businesses, products, and services that make this a great place to call home. This event is a great opportunity to shop and support local. You can expect to see over 100 local companies. You can shop Idaho apparel, artisans, crafters, enjoy tasty food, all while sipping a cold beverage and enjoy live music. This event is going to be great for the whole family. We are excited to see you at Experience Idaho Expo.
Sometimes distance isn't the only barrier between you, your friends, and your loved ones. TDS is working tirelessly to bring your community fiber internet, the fastest, most reliable internet available. Register now to help ensure your neighborhood and your home gets connected. TDS Fiber, the best internet for how we live.
The Family Pet Expo is a really unique event for all animal lovers. We'll have over 65 exhibits focusing on products and services. We'll have a dog obedience demo. We'll have microchipping and vaccines available. We even have Corbin Maxey doing 2 live performances. And Corbin Maxey is a national renowned animal biologist and TV personality. We have the dog agility gym this year, and we also want everyone to know that pets are welcome as long as they're well behaved. So we're really excited again to have the 15th year of the Family Pet Expo, and it really is a signature event for pet lovers, and we can't wait to see everyone at Expo Idaho. All right, well, we're back, and we're with Lance Caldor with the Idaho Department of Labor. He's a senior workforce consultant. So please help me welcome to the stage Lance Caldor. All right. And Lance, you want to turn that on there? Make sure we're on. It's live, folks, so, all right. We'll get you set up here. Let's see. Yep, go ahead and turn it on. Yep, now just talk.
Hello.
All right, I think we could hear you.
Okay.
All right. So again, hey, we're live, but that's okay. Always some technical difficulties, but that's all right. We're going to get started. So again, we're excited to have you on stage today. We'll be talking about resources beyond unemployment. So obviously with the Idaho Department of Labor, unemployment's been a hot topic. But there's so many other resources that the Idaho Department of Labor provides, and we're going to jump right on into it, Lance. So tell us a little bit about the Idaho Department of Labor and what the function of that organization is.
Absolutely. So the Department of Labor has been around for about 73 years, and we work with job seekers and employers to keep the economy of Idaho rolling, making sure employers get quality employees and making sure employees or job seekers get hired with the right companies, and to make sure when it's a win-win, everybody's happy, and it's always great when you can go to your job and enjoy it as much.
And we have a lot to talk about, and I think you want to get into some of these things. So if you want to hit to the next slide, I think we're going to talk about a little bit more about when it was obviously started, the Department of Labor, but you have some stats you wanted to share about unemployment.
Absolutely. So unemployment, of course, a hot topic right now, thanks to COVID. And with unemployment, when we began the month of March, Idaho was one of the lowest unemployments in the nation at 2.5. And then pretty much overnight, we jumped from 2.5 in March up to 11.8 in April due to the COVID and the shutdowns that came along with it. And since then, we've managed to come back down to 8.9 for the month of May, which is our most recent numbers, which is what we want to see. We want to see that unemployment rate coming back down. That means people are going back to work. It means that new business is coming in and hiring folks.
Okay. And that's some big swings that we're seeing here. And this happened in the unemployment and the claims. I mean, this happened within a week, or a couple weeks. It was not like we saw this coming months ago. These spikes, and we're seeing it right here on your slides, I mean, this happened in a matter of a short period of time.
Almost overnight,
Yeah.
it felt like. There was no way to predict COVID. We hadn't even really seen any world numbers showing that unemployment or employment was getting hit so heavily. We knew that societies as a whole were getting hit. And the thing to remember about the Department of Labor is when unemployment is that low, we operate on a minimal staff because we're not needed. So when COVID hit and unemployment jumped, there was, I don't think, any feasible way that anybody could have seen that coming to the degree that it did. Overall in the state, claims jumped 81,000, up to 81,000, with southwestern Idaho jumping 41,000 claims, almost within a 2-week period. And there was just no way to be prepared for that kind of influx.
And not only that, I mean, obviously then there's the training that has to go to get your staff brought up to speed. There's a little bit of time it takes, even if we wanted to hire 100 people to get those claims taken care of, it's still, we have to get the training
Exactly.
in place. Yeah.
It's not something that can be done just going and grabbing somebody off the street and conditioning them with regulations and the qualifications that are required to get unemployment. So it wasn't one of those things that we could just up ramp in the course of 24, 36, 72 hours.
Right.
It's definitely a training period. And again, there was just no way to know that was going to happen to that degree.
Now, in another aspect that I was unaware of, but it was the amount of fraudulent claims that happened also. And so not only were you dealing with the influx of claims themselves and real claims, but there was an influx of fraudulent claims where people were trying to take advantage of the system, and you had to deal with those and make sure you weren't granting fraudulent claims.
A lot of folks didn't realize that there's a list of requirements to receiving unemployment. And yes, when it broke, a bunch of fraudulent people came on board, filed claims that weren't really eligible for them, looking to get money that they thought would come. And that bogged down the system because each of those claims needed to be investigated to make sure that wasn't happening. And unfortunately, when you have a jump like that and all those same people in line together, everybody has to go through the same process. Everybody has to go through the same level of scrutiny to make sure that we're not doing that to best protect the people of Idaho.
Right. Well, and you've definitely made a lot of progress with fixing a lot of the issues, and I know it's still frustrating for people at home, whether they're applying for unemployment. I know there was issues, but you've made a lot of progress, especially in the last few weeks. You want to talk about that progress with the workforce now in place to handle a lot of these claims.
We brought on the call center, we got more people in there, and then one of the big things that helped was Governor Little's proclamation to work through those issues, to look at some of them and say, you know what, we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to move these claims forward. And in the process of a couple of weeks, we were able to process, I think the last number I saw was like 11,500 claims to get them into pay status and going out to people.
That's good. So hopefully people will start seeing that relief from an unemployment standpoint. And I think you have another slide we want to talk about a little bit on the impact from unemployment from an industry standpoint, correct?
Correct.
Let's take a look at that.
So on this slide, this is Ada and Canyon County. What's interesting in this was in Ada County, it was our service industry that was hit the most heavily by the COVID and the unemployment. Interesting, a lot of people go, well, yeah, that makes sense. But when you compare it across the state, it's an important note because we are such a, as a term that's coined, a golden state. We have a lot of retirees moving into the area. When that happens, your service levels go up. They expect more restaurants. They expect more retail. And so when COVID hit and all those people stayed home, then of course all those businesses had to make adjustments. And so for Ada County, one of the highest hit areas were our service industries. And that's what we're working to get back.
Okay, all right. And let's look at a little bit on, who's hiring. So I think you have your next slide by region, and I know this chart's a little hard to read, but can you walk us through a little bit and the takeaways with who's actually hiring right now?
Okay, sure. So here in southwest Idaho, that is the gray lines that you can see, and you can see how much further, due to our population base, those numbers come in. What's interesting on this slide is that the longest gray line represents restaurants. And so there's lots and lots of our service industries out there that are hiring, followed closely by our hospitals, our financial institutions that are all looking for high quality people, as well as replacing staff, but knowing that as COVID comes to an end and as our restrictions are lifted, all of us are wanting to get out of our houses. We're all tired of being at home. It's like, I want to go out and have a meal and enjoy. And of course, in downtown Boise, do our people watching. And so our businesses down there have done a great job of setting that up. We just need to flatten that curve again and get back down to where we can go back to stage 4 and get everybody out.
That's right. Well, it's hopefully this stays this way, because I would love to see a lot of these jobs come back. And I know the people who are watching today at home, I know they're anxious to get their jobs back. And so hopefully we all do our part and we're able to see this, maybe unemployment start going back down again. That's our hope, and that's why we're here. But now that we got some of these stats out of the way, and we talked about unemployment and who's hiring, there's a lot that Idaho Department of Labor does with additional employment services, right?
Absolutely.
So do you want to hit a little bit about some of those programs and what you offer besides just dealing with unemployment?
Absolutely. So the easiest way to look at the Department of Labor is as an umbrella. On one side of the umbrella, you have unemployment. On the other side, you have employment services. And a lot of folks are unaware of what we can do in employment services. So employment services, we help the job seeker as well as the employer. For our employers, we help a lot with labor laws, disability questions, local employment market questions, what's up, what's down, what are the prevailing wages for that, not just here in Idaho, but how we compare across the country to other states as well. We also help employers with getting their job postings on any given day. The job postings in the Department of Labor's repository can run anywhere from 10,000 to 30,000 ads being ran, and hoping that job seekers see them. So we walk them through that posting process, again with specific questions and advising on what attracts job seekers. A lot of times employers won't list the wage range they're looking at hiring, and so letting them know that if you put a 0 in there, most job seekers won't look at that job because they don't know what they're getting themselves into. So we walk with employers through that. And of course, then rapid response is what we offer. If a company knows they're going to downsize, have a layoff, we can come in, sit down with their employees and tell them, this is what you have to look forward to with unemployment. And this is how the process works, which puts a lot of feelings at ease.
Right. And so it's not only important for the job seekers out there, but for the employers, is that there's services there to help in these difficult times, to help give them information, which is beneficial, obviously, to the people.
Absolutely.
Now, what about charging for these? Is there a fee for these?
The Department of Labor charges nothing.
Right.
It's one of the great things about being a citizen is this is free, and that's especially important when we look at job seeker services and the employment services we offer for them, because the list of what we offer job seekers is very long. One of the easiest ways to find out what we do or how to get to those services is, of course, going to our main page, which is www.labor.idaho.gov. On the screen, you see kind of a collage of what that homepage looks like. Currently, right now, you'll see a lot of COVID information up there. If you scroll down past that, you'll come to 2 boxes, one for unemployment and one for job seekers. And then we'll come back to that job seeker one. And then, of course, down at the bottom of the page, you'll find additional labor support for all the other areas that the Department of Labor helps administer, our apprenticeship programs, Job Corps Idaho, transition services, which can be transitioning from one career to another. It can be transitioning out of college into employment, so out of education into employment, people with disabilities transitioning into employment and off of benefits, as well as Idaho labor laws. They're quick, easy links that you just click on as you move forward. And then on that job seeker box, which is the blue box with the red circle drawn around it, that's how you get to our job seeker services.
Okay, and so how do, if we're looking at this, how do job seekers go out and find out more information? I know obviously we go to labor.idaho.gov, we click on the job seekers.
Yep.
And then what happens?
So when you click on that job seekers, it'll drop you right in here to the job seeker services. If you want to go directly to that, there's that address. And I think we have the capability that we can click on that job search button, which is the magnifying glass, and that takes us live into the system. If you click on the job search button, it'll take you into Idaho Works. Idaho Works is our repository of job postings, where you can go in, you can search for jobs, you can build resumes in the system. Here's our home page to log into Idaho Works. They would log in. Down there at the bottom, looking for a job, you can go right to our job postings right there. Employers can click on the green button to hire somebody. And then the red button is if you want to do a quick job search that's going to give you information on that industry, you can click on that. It'll take you to Jobscape. Jobscape is a platform that will tell you the demand level for that type of position. It'll talk to you about what the prevailing wages are as far as entry level, typical, and experience. So if you're somebody with 30 years of experience in broadcasting, you can go in there, you can find broadcasters, and it's going to say, here in Idaho, you're going to look about this value on your services.
And that's for each region in terms of like what what my potential wage would be. It would be per region.
So on Jobscape, it's going to be overall for the state, but you can go to labormarketindex.idaho, the LMI.idaho, and you can actually do it by region there. And it'll tell you, again, what the prevailing wages are. It'll tell you what the demand is for that. Down here in the valley, we may have a high demand for restaurant employees, but up north, they may have a high demand for loggers.
And this is really important, especially because I would imagine there's a lot of people out there right now that might have to do a career transition, and they might have to find another job outside of their normal skill set. And when they're transferring to another job or another career, this really gives them the power to find out how much they should be asking for, maybe a little bit more about the jobs in particular, but it really helps them get better informed during that hiring process. Is that correct?
It really does. It gives them the tools required so that when they go into an interview, they can say, this is what this is. It gives them the information they need so they can better interview. When you're in an interview and you can recite that information, that's what an employer looks like. It's like somebody researched us. Somebody really cares about coming to work. That's who I want to hire. I don't want to hire the guy that's like, yeah, I need a job.
Right.
So, and with that, it just makes it a little more, it gives the job seeker a little bit more of an advantage in a heavy market, as well as letting them know, am I in a heavy market? I'm down here in Idaho trying to get a computer job. How's that going to work down here in southwestern Idaho? It's going to work. You're going to be in tough competition, especially with the number of people that are looking to transition or go back to work.
And what about this, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act? Is there anything else you want to talk about that?
Absolutely. So if we go back to that employment services slide, and then move forward back to these ones, you can see one there that talks about the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. It's the one right to the right of the job search one. And if you click on that link, it's going to tell you about the different programs we offer. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act is a federally mandated act that gives us the ability to help give job seekers things that are going to make them more qualified, more desirable to employers. These are our adult and dislocated worker programs. If you've been unemployed, if you've been let go, and let's say that you are an office administrator and you've never really upgraded from your Microsoft 2007 skills, and you would be a more desirable candidate to an employer if you had Microsoft 2016. If you're eligible and you qualify for the programs, it's possible that the Department of Labor will pay for you to get that training. If you are interested in, you've been doing menial landscaping work and you're interested in becoming a truck driver and you meet the eligibilities and requirements, it's possible that the Department of Labor could pay for you to attend that program. You're offered a job in Idaho Falls, but you don't have the money to move and relocate. It's possible if you qualify and are found eligible for the programs, the Department of Labor can help you cover some of the costs to move to Idaho Falls to get that job. So our WIOA programs are really, really, really beneficial. If you want to know how to get to them, if on that page that we just had up there, if we go back down at the bottom, there's a link where you can enter in your personal information and a career planner will call you and contact you.
And again, these are free resources?
Free resources. Okay. All you got to do is let us know you're there and we'll help walk you through that process.
That's great. Well, and again, you covered a lot of great resources for job seekers, even if they're looking for a career change. These are free, so they really need to take advantage of these. But how do they get in touch, besides the links that we showed here, if they want more information or they want to contact the Department of Labor? What's the best way for those job seekers to reach out and get in touch with the Department of Labor?
The best way to do it is at the bottom of our main page, right here. Oops, sorry. Right there, you'll see a column that says About Us, and the contact information there. If you want to find your local office directory, you can click on that. We encourage people to check out the local office directories because, as many people are aware, we shifted our focus within the last year, and we are going out to the public now. Instead of looking at folks saying, you got to come to our office, we may go to the bedroom communities like CUNA and set up in their public library so that people can come in and talk to us in those situations. There was a lot of problem with our phone lines, and we've got that resolved now that unemployment's going to its own set. So getting a hold of us, calling the local office numbers is a lot easier.
And again, I mean, that's really important for the people at home. I know it's really frustrating with the unemployment process with the calls. That's been fixed. But all these resources are so important for those job seekers when looking for that next job, and they should take advantage of these free resources. They're available online. We could contact the office to have them come out to the communities. There's been a lot of good positive changes in the right direction in a short period of time. And again, like you said, no one saw this coming in terms of the scale. But Lance, I want to thank you, first of all, for coming on stage. You guys are really busy. I want to thank you for being here, sharing these resources for the people at home. We appreciate all that you do with the Idaho Department of Labor, but thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Give us a call.
All right. So coming up next, we have Madeline White with Channel 6 News. She's a lead reporter, and she's been doing investigating stories on the Rebound Initiative across the state of Idaho. So she has some interesting insights from people and their stories. I encourage you to stick around, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes with Madeline White. Thank you. IBL Events is a marketing firm really focusing on trade shows and expositions here in the Treasure Valley. So we have around 15 trade shows a year, and so we produce the ability for you to market your company in front of your clients in a 1 or 2 day setting. The benefit from the vendor perspective is we really become their marketing arm. So if you look at it, instead of them going out and spending money to try to get their products and services through billboards, radio, TV, print, digital marketing, social media, we're kind of doing that for them. And we're being able to do it at mass scale. And that's what separates us apart from a lot of other trade shows, is that we really have the power to get that message out, to drive those customers, the targeted customers that they're looking for, to the event. It's a huge benefit for the customer as well. So our shows have a lot of different items and aspects for the attendee, such as seminars, educational workshops, for our family events. We have a lot of things for families to do, interactive games, a lot of stuff for families to enjoy and have that full-on experience, because that's what it's about.
TDS Fiber is about to revolutionize the way you work and play, big time. Our state-of-the-art fiber optic network will deliver today's premium internet, TV, and phone services, and prepare your home or business for the technologies of tomorrow. Get ready for amazing technology. TDS Fiber, it's big time.
Things are tough right now, and many don't know where to turn for help, and that's why Idaho News 6 created the Rebound Idaho. From financial recovery to putting food on your table and more, the Rebound Idaho. Everything you need to help get through these difficult times.
You're fine.
Okay.
All right, we're back on the main stage, brought to you by TDS. Our next speaker is Madeline White with Idaho News Channel 6. She's going to be talking about beyond just jobs, getting Idaho back on its feet. We're excited to have Madeline here today. And she has an interesting perspective being a reporter going across the state of Idaho, listening to these stories. And the Rebound Initiative, not to be confused with the governor's order, but the Rebound Initiative is a really great way to get the community involved and hear the frustrations and the stories and what's going on with the impact that we're seeing across the state. So first of all, Madeline, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Nick.
And thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is a great resource for Idahoans right now.
Well, we're excited to have you, and we want to know a little bit more about what is the Rebound, because again, the governor's initiative is named something very similar, but can you tell us a little bit
For
about
the record, ours came first. They stole our name. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, the Rebound Idaho, it's a reporting franchise, really, and what it focuses on is we're trying to relieve, respond, and revive, because we understand that these have been very difficult months, these past few months, and so our focus areas really are to make sure people are making ends meet, managing the pressure, getting back to work, and really just, we're looking to protect their bottom line during this time with our reporting efforts.
And now, why would a news organization want to take this on? I mean, I think that's just one of the first things that popped up in my mind, because it is, when you explained it to me, I was really intrigued. But why does a news station want to take this on?
Yeah, great question, Nick. Well, I think that we're in a unique position as journalists to not only hold government agencies accountable, powerful parties accountable, but also we can help spread awareness on information, on resources that can really empower people during this time.
And with that, I mean, you've been going all across the state. You've been interviewing all these people and businesses.
Right.
And it's been a tough time for a lot of people in the last few months.
Yeah.
What are some common themes or stories that you've encountered while you've been going through the state of Idaho?
Right, you're definitely right. And we've been hearing a lot of heartbreaking stories from our viewers. Being in isolation these past few months definitely has, I think, made people feel a little bit alone. And really the common theme I would say that we're seeing is people just feel really in the dark right now. There's a lot of confusing items, to uncover right now. For instance, the lending programs, if you're a small business owner, or applying for unemployment assistance, and issues with your claims and things like that. So we've been listening to our viewers' individual problems or just comments and stories, and really trying to help them. So on air and off air, we've been trying to kind of figure out people's problems with them and listen to their predicaments right now. Yeah.
Interesting. And I think you actually have a few clips that you want to share with us from some of these stories.
Yeah, this is an example of one story where basically we're trying to shed some light on some of the issues people were having these past few months.
Can't contact anybody after trying for hours.
It's the same message we're hearing day after day from our viewers. Where are my benefits, and why can't I get in touch with anyone at the Idaho Department of Labor? Representative John Gannon also hearing the cries from his constituents.
People don't have the money then to pay rent, pay other utility bills.
Labor reps say when the shutdowns happened, the department brought back a few retired claims specialists, and the governor telling us this.
They've got, I think, 19 new ones that are on board now. They're out looking for another 20 or 30.
It's safe to say those claims specialists have their hands full.
Now imagine the pages in this book represent the roughly 5,000 claims Idaho Department of Labor used to see per week on average last year. Now take that same number of claims and multiply it by about 9, and you can see just how many claims they're dealing with this year per week on average. That's about 8,500 claims per day.
Wow, that's huge increase.
And Nick, obviously knowledge is power, so we really have been trying to get our viewers stories and issues that they're dealing with out to the public on stories on our newscasts. And the goal with that is really to kind of, if there's someone out there that might have a similar problem, maybe they see that story and get their question answered too. So we want people to be able to relate to each other.
Remember Carissa Wright? We introduced you to her in a prior story. She's a self-employed hairstylist who's now waited 2 months without benefits.
It's not coming, it's not showing up, there's no answers, no one knows.
After weeks without benefits and not being able to reach labor reps, she saw a status change on her claimant portal reading benefits exhausted.
You think this cannot be happening. This cannot be happening because you can't get a hold of anyone. I felt pretty defeated, honestly.
We were able to get some answers for her and others experiencing changes in claim status like this one too.
It does take a few days to work through these claims to actually, before we're able to pay them. And in the meantime, it could show one of those messages to them.
It could show benefits exhausted and still hold promise for, paying her out eventually.
Yeah, yep. It actually means that we're working on getting her paid through the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program.
And the good news is, we just got done talking with Lance with the Idaho Department of Labor, and from your reporting as well, they've made some significant changes to address a lot of these problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And we've actually done some stories recently about the progress they've made recently. There was 1 week, I think a couple weeks ago, where they dumped like 16,000 claims because of that proclamation that the governor signed that kind of lifted some restrictions surrounding eligibility for requirements. And the call center as well. They bolstered their staff size there. So it's been an interesting process where we're shedding light on some of the issues they were having to meet the demand, but also now we're showing that they are making some progress and trying to instill some hope in our viewers.
Yeah, and you're providing, through the Rebound, there's other resources that you're providing to Idahoans to help protect their bottom line.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about those other resources?
Yeah, sure. So really what it comes down to is, what are the big expenses that Idahoans have right now? For a lot of people, it's rent, just making rent. So we've been highlighting local nonprofits. St. Vincent de Paul, for example, can come in with some cash assistance, a couple $100 if you need it for making rent that month. Or Jesse Tree is another great nonprofit here in the Treasure Valley that provides emergency eviction intervention. So for people who are at risk of eviction, they can help with that. We've also looked at, tips for dealing with car payments and protecting your credit score, and the government assisted resources as well. So, the Idaho Rebound Cash Grant, the Back to Work bonus the governor introduced, and lending programs for small business owners as well.
And so the Rebound is actually helping inform Idahoans about these initiatives, right? They're able to go to the Rebound website, but to actually what you're just talking about, they could actually go there to find these resources and find out more information about those, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So idahonews6.com/rebound is a one-stop shop for all of our reporting efforts that, it's just story after story filled with resources for people who are dealing with various different things. So we're really, really trying to do good during this time. That's kind of our mission, is to do good.
Well, and we were talking the other day when we were prepping for this, and we were talking about the mental aspect, and it's definitely weighing heavy on a lot of people out there. But what are some of the resources from the rebound that are helping people cope and helping to provide hope, for that?
Right, that's definitely true. And I think just talking about how you're feeling is something that we've actually been reporting on for several years now with our Finding Hope's franchise as well. But we feel that hope and health are intertwined. And during this time, with the recent surge of popularity of telehealth, we are doing a lot of stories that kind of highlight the benefits of telehealth, not only for medical needs, but also for, teletherapy, talking to someone during this time, because obviously these are just crazy, uncertain times right now. And with the isolation we're all kind of dealing with, it's really important to make use of the resources. Plus, telehealth, has no risk of transmission, so you don't have to worry about picking up COVID in the doctor's office or anything like that.
Right. Well, it seems like the Rebound initiative that you're working on is really about the community, right? And,
yeah.
And it's about coming together. And I think that's really important in this time, that we help each other and we're here for each other. But can you tell us a little bit more about the community and how people can get involved and really look after each other?
That's absolutely right, Nick. And I think leaning on each other right now is more important than ever. And that's why we created this Facebook page back in March when it all kind of started happening. It's called the Rebound Idaho Facebook group. So it's a group that you can join. Anyone can join it. We have several hundred people, about 1,000, I think. And what basically the goal with this group is to bring people together. A really cool example of that was there was a woman who posted on there saying that her grandmother had some issues with her house, I think something with her roof, and she needed to fix drywall. So several people commented on that post saying, I think one of them was like, I have two teenage boys who aren't doing much right now and would love to help. And so that was really cool to see people come together and help each other during this time of uncertainty. We also have, our reporting. I put everything there that we do as far as resources go and information, and even like virtual concerts. There'll be like the Riverside Hotel will post some virtual concerts they're hosting, and that's the kind of thing also that helps with mental health right now. Just knowing that there's some places that you can enjoy some live music online, and that helps us cope for sure.
Yeah, we need a little positivity, in our life. So, and what was that Facebook page again?
It's called the Rebound Idaho. So if you just search the Rebound Idaho group in Facebook, you should be able to find it.
Now, you're also encouraging people to tell their stories, right? I mean, this is also, the Rebound initiative that you're working on it's about people that they have a voice, they can be heard, and you're encouraging people to tell their stories, right?
Oh yeah, we are listening. Even though it can feel like no one's listening right now, we want to hear what you have to say. So if people want to reach out to us, by all means, the rebound at idahonews6.com is our email. And I'd love to have conversations with you and maybe even help you with your problems that you're dealing with.
Yeah, that's a great resource, and often we think that we can't make a difference or no one's going to listen to us, right?
Right.
But if we have a community where they could hear maybe even some of the stories, good or bad, right? I mean, we need to get through it together, and I think that's how you actually came across a lot of these stories right at the beginning, as you were hearing from people, whether it was with unemployment or other problems, and we really encourage that, right?
Yeah, so true. We know that by the scale of this issue, it's really easy to feel like you're dealing with this alone, but there are actually way more people than you think that are dealing with similar issues, and that's really the common theme we've seen too, is like, you're really not alone with some of these things, and it really comes down to just getting your voice out there. There are more people out there too that want to help than you might think. So reaching out for help should not be stigmatized. Right. There are local nonprofits, there are news organizations like us who want to help using our contacts to see if we can get you some help, or resources like this. I mean, this is fantastic. So I really do think that, I know it's cheesy to say you're not alone, but it's true. You're really not alone right now.
Right. And now we know where some of these resources where they could go. And if anyone has any resources that need to be known, right?
Right.
Get on that Facebook page. Let people know. Let the community know. Let's get involved. Let's help each other out. Right?
Yep. The Rebound Idaho on Facebook, and again, that email is therebound@idahonews6.com. And you can watch our stories as well if you're interested in just picking up some information that might be useful for you.
And speaking of that, when are you live? Because this is a TV series. Obviously, The Rebound is a series. When can they watch it live on TV?
So my stories typically air Sunday through Thursday at 10 o'clock on Channel 6, KIVI. But it also usually airs in the morning shows as well. That's 5 and 6 a.m. So for those early birds out there. But also all of my stories are clipped and put on the web as well. And you can find those on the Rebound Idaho Facebook group I was mentioning earlier.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not going to be watching at the 5 a.m., but I'll catch the evening series for sure.
More of a night owl, Nick?
Yes.
Okay.
That is definitely the case. So again, Madeline, thanks for being here today. Really appreciate all that you do for our community. You really try to provide hope for a lot of people and to be their voice.
Yeah.
And it's so important in this time of need. So appreciate it. Appreciate all the resources that you provided today.
Yeah, my work has just begun. We're all in this together. So seriously, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate this resource here today.
That's great. And again, we will be recording this, so we'll be able to replay this back for you if you missed some notes while we were going through that. But thanks again, Madeline, for being here. And next we have Ray Allen with Peppershock Media. She's going to be talking about your personal brand and why it's important for your next job. And I want to encourage for those that are at home is don't forget we have our live networking sessions with employers who are hiring here in the Treasure Valley. So after Ray Allen's presentation, I will do a quick walkthrough on how you could join those networking rooms. But we have several employers who are hiring. And if you want to find out more about those jobs, please go to idahocareerfair.com and click on the virtual job landing page. And there you'll be able to see all the participating companies who are participating in our virtual job fair today. And again, that starts at 1 p.m. and the networking rooms will open up. And so you'll want to be able to check those out. So we'll be right back with Ray Allen. Stay tuned.
The Idaho Job and Career Fair has been going on for over 20 years. It started with 1 to 2 job fairs a year in Boise, and now it's grown to running about every other month in a calendar year in the entire Treasure Valley, and we reach everybody from Mountain Home all the way over to Payette, Ontario area. The Idaho Job and Career Fair offers different avenues for making that connection between the employer and the job seeker, whether it's face-to-face or virtually, so it makes a good fit for everyone. The job seeker can expect to come into the Idaho Job and Career Fair and connect directly with the companies that are hiring, so they can meet and find out what jobs they have available versus taking the time to go out on the internet and having to look at multiple companies and then dropping their resume on a job board that they may never hear anything back from. So this gives them an opportunity to speak with those companies and find out if there's a fit. It typically has 50 to 70 different companies. It covers a wide range of industries, so job seekers have a wide variety of opportunities. We hope to see you at the next Idaho Job and Career Fair.
Sometimes distance isn't the only barrier between you, your friends, and your loved ones. TDS is working tirelessly to bring your community fiber internet, the fastest, most reliable internet available. Register now to help ensure your neighborhood and your home gets connected. TDS Fiber, the best internet for how we live.
All right, welcome back to the virtual job and career fair here in Idaho. I would like to welcome to the stage Ray Allen, but I also want to give another shout out to all of our sponsors who made this event possible. Thank you, sponsors. With us on stage is Ray Allen with Peppershock Media. I'm excited to have Ray on stage. We're going to be talking about the importance of personal branding to secure your next job. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning of our segment today, personal brand is often thought of as something important for a company, important for a product or a service, but it's really important for an individual, especially when they're looking for that next job, and it often gets overlooked. But a personal brand is just as important probably now more than ever. So first of all, though, Ray, welcome to the stage.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
So Ray, we have a lot of content, and so I'm going to pass this over to you, but just give a brief overview of yourself and Peppershock Media.
Sure. So Peppershock started in 2003 with my husband and I, and we've grown with staff, and of course I've hired people, and so working with creatives really, and a variety of different types of people who serve Peppershock. But so yeah, personal brand, we'll get to kind of dive right into that and talk about the importance of personal branding and aligning with the employer brand just as much as your employee brand.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm excited to learn more about personal brand as well, and I know those at home. I think it's going to be a really informative session, so I'm just going to let you take it away.
Okay.
You have a lot to cover today, and I
Sure.
think it's going to be really informative, so just go ahead and take it away from here.
All right, so let's just get past this first slide here. So we're going to cover quickly today is what is personal branding and what is your brand essence and how to build your brand essence statement. We're not necessarily going to build the brand statement, but we're going to talk about how you can create your own brand statement. We're going to talk about smarter goals and making some goals, and then raise 5 R's and what that means, and then some resources for you and some next steps that you can take to help get your name out there and network. So we're going to talk about that. All right, let's just get right into it. What is personal branding? Well, it's all the things that you can imagine it is, right? It's your unique promotion of oneself. So your reputation, what people think of you, the ethics that you have, your skills that you have created and can share about, a logo or an image of you, whether it's your photo or a picture of you, or an image or an emblem that you create, just like a branded, brand for a business. It's also your brand of who you represent. It's the word of mouth. We all know word of mouth advertising is the best way to get your brand out there. So spreading the word of mouth and accelerating word of mouth, and we'll talk a little bit about that. It's your experiences that you've had and your personality, and I'll give you some resources on how you can uncover what type of personality you have, and then the values that you seek and in alignment with the values of the company that you want to work for, and making sure that you're aligning with the right company and the right culture and the right fit. So those are some things to talk about. I just want to share with you a little bit about me and my personal brand and give you an example of what one can do to stand out online and share a personal brand. So we're going to hit play on this. Let's just see if it'll go here. Emulate your personal brand, and this is what mine is. To think about when you're thinking about personal branding. Think of all the places
Make branding
and spaces.
a voluntary buy-in process. Ask your employees what they can do to help to promote your brand. What are your employees saying about you when you're not around? What did your mind think to? What did you gravitate to? What are they saying? And if you kind of have a little moment of panic, then you know that you need to do something about it. You can filter out different types of messages to different groups of people, and if you can kind of personalize the message to that group of people, it's going to be more effective, because then now suddenly they think, oh, you're taking interest in me and what's important to me, and not just kind of mass emailing people.
It's amazing to me how we have shifted over the last 15 years in our business alone, where we were doing commercials for television all the time, but more and more people are watching Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime. So now we get creative with how we get our content distributed and delivered.
The people that come to your website, are they converting into sales? Either online or offline, right? If you're not measuring it, you're not going to understand if you can make it better.
So relating that to the job seeker, right, from the employer versus employee brand, let's think about how you can adapt what a brand and what you normally would think of brands of the world would be, and to then internalizing it to your own brand and who you are as a person and what you represent and the things that you can do to get your name out there and how to get your brand out in the world for people to see and know about you more, accelerating that word of mouth. Here's just some examples of people who have some really great personal brands, and there's quite the variety here, right? We've got, Bill Nye the Science Guy. What does he do to emulate his brand, and how do you know about him? You just automatically know when you start singing the song, Bill Nye the Science Guy. Anyway, there's things that he's doing to continue to build his brand. Now, not saying that our job seekers are going to be these, famous people, but hey, you never know, right? They could turn into that. So what are you doing to build your brand, to build your name, to make you who you are and stand out amongst everybody else? Because you're seeking jobs, you have competition. There's going to be a lot of other people looking for jobs right now. So what can you do to get your name in front of those people who are going to be hiring you? So building a stellar personal brand. And brands are like blueprints, right? When you're going to build a building, you have to have a blueprint. You have to have a foundation. You have to have a strategy and a plan and some tactics to take to understand what it is that when you construct that new building, you have to seek advice and from the architects, from all the different people who are helping you build that foundation, just like your personal brand. Who is it that's helping you? Who's mentoring you? Who's working with you? Who's helping you build your foundation to then develop yourself into something that you want to build and grow into? So thinking about your brand essence, who are you as a person? What is the brand essence? It's the heart and soul of your brand. It's the fundamental nature and quality of who you are. Your values will stand and it'll, basically you could state this in a couple words of what your values are, and then your voice. What's the tonality of your voice? So your personality, what is it that you're going to convey to people when you are talking to them or writing to them or putting out there in social media about the fact that you're looking for work or on LinkedIn, those types of things. So thinking really truly about what those things are that you want people to know about you. And then tips for personal branding, to create your brand essence statement. And why is this important? It's because you want to live and emulate this every day. You need to understand what it is that you want to be and who you want to be. And, sometimes job seekers will try to mimic what they think that the employer wants them to be, and they'll answer questions like what they think that they want to hear. But truly, you've got to be yourself. You really need to understand who you are, what your attributes are. When an employer asks you, what is your best qualities? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the things that you can really, truly be honest about of who you are? And there's really no perfect answer because you don't know what that employer is really looking for. And so making yourself memorable and understanding your audience of who it is that you're speaking to, if it's the employer, if it's the HR manager, if it's the other employees, if you're looking at a variety of different people that you're going to be interviewed by, right? So you want to understand who your audience is, and then making it memorable. Make yourself your self-impression equal the impression of others, and what others really truly think of you. Mimic that, and that's what you want. You want it to make sure that what you are of yourself is what you want others to perceive you as being, because perception is reality. And then, of course, market yourself and be flexible. So what can you do to market yourself and put yourself out there to let people know that you are looking for work and that you are specifically creating goals that will get you to where you want to be. So smarter goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, time-based, ethical, and recorded. So what we do is we look at, with our staff, we set out goals and we want to uncover what those goals are. Well, if you're a job seeker, you want to make a smarter goal and say, whether it's, measurable, how many resumes or how many follow-ups do I do? How many thank you notes do I send out? I love it when I get a thank you note after I interview somebody and they send me a thank you note. I think that just, and it's handwritten, and it's sent in the mail. Right? And it's just something that's different that can set you apart. And it's something that continues to help you, right? So what are some goals that you can make while you're going through your job seeking, hunting, and what can you do to set yourself out away from others, right? Is it relevant? Is it time-based? So the other part of the goal too is like, okay, by X date, I want to, have this many applications to the right companies. You can just spray your resume out everywhere, or you can take the time and actually, write a cover letter that's very dedicated to that specific company that you've researched, that you've dialed into, that you want to work for, that you are in alignment with your goals and your brand and your values and all the things that we're talking about here.
Hey, Ray.
Yeah.
can we go back just really quick? Just for those that are at home, the SMARTER goals recorded, and again, this is really important. Recorded means writing out your goals, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, record it, hear it, say it, do it. Put it up on your mirror every day. You know, if you've got a vision board, you could put that out there to say what your goals are. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes seeing it visually can really help you make sure you're on track. And actually, the other thing too to think about this is having an accountability partner. So somebody holding you accountable to the fact that you're going to do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, right? And maybe that's an ethical choice too, right? Making sure that what you're doing is ethical as well. So yeah, just thinking about the strategy that you're going to take, how you're going to take it, what tactics you can take in marketing yourself, right? Building your brand and getting your values out there in the world for them to hear and see, and what can you do online, what kind of tactics can you do to market yourself. Just as a company markets their business and their brand, you have to step up and market yourself just as much. But remember, what happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas, especially now when, you know, Vegas is slowly starting to open up. But hey, the point here is that, you know, it can stay on Facebook and every other channel out there, right? So, you know, look at what you have put out there, even years past, right? What have you done to continue to build your brand and you know, maybe you put something out that could be looked upon as not so great. So delete it. So that, and then the 5 R's. So this is my 5 R's. These are some things that you can help do to market yourself, to get your information out there, and it's reciprocal too. If you give other companies ratings on Facebook, or you know, you start getting your name in front of them in some way or another, you can rank the company if you think that they're well worthy of a 5-star review. Go for it, do it. Then people can do the same for you. They can give you reviews on LinkedIn or recommendations. They can endorse you. Of course, then referrals, right? Put it out there that you're looking for work, and then allow people to uncover, well, what kind of work are you looking for? How can I specifically refer you? And referrals are really important to give specific names of people that you want to be referred to. And then again, it's reciprocal. If you can refer others, and you can refer other people to jobs that maybe don't fit you, or if you can refer companies to get new business, or whatever the case might be, referrals are really important. And then of course, get rewarded. And this could be, you know, rewarding a referral with a, you know, a $5 Starbucks gift card. It doesn't matter what it necessarily is, or maybe just even a thank you note, right? Thinking about how you can reward somebody with that moment of receiving something that is tailored to them, that's special to them, that can help you do that. And then finally, we'll have to put these in the notes because you'll probably not be able to click on these here. But as you go through this and uncovering who you are and what you are, what your values are, there's some resources here that can allow you to take some personality tests. And there, again, no wrong or right answer. I often will ask people if they've taken any kind of DISC assessments, or you know, if they're dominant, influential, supportive, or compliance, or if they've taken any Myers-Briggs testing. It's not, you know, you don't necessarily judge your entire interview off of those things, but you just kind of uncover what people and what their personality and how they might fit in the culture. You know, are they supportive, or are they dominant? Or are they, you know, how do I speak to them if they're a dominant person versus, you know, what do you think you are, Nick?
Well, yeah, I definitely a personality type A, but you know, but I think the important part of this too is usually one of the number one questions people ask is, tell me your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to an interview, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes people struggle with talking about a weakness, right? Or even they feel shy about talking about the strengths.
Right.
But some of these assessments that you're talking about are really important because that helps you better answer these questions with a little bit more confidence.
Well, in Strength Finders, there is a fee to doing Strength Finders, but it's really valuable because you can can uncover what your top 5 strengths are. If you want to uncover all 30 of them and know what your weaknesses are, you can pay more. But the top 5 strengths are important because then you know what you're really, really strong in, and it helps you and to develop things that you want to get stronger in too. If there's other areas that maybe you have a weakness in, what can you do to build that and grow and develop that? My top strength is command, not demand, I tell people. But then I can woo, and so woo is my second. And then the third, let's see, is ideation. and then includer and communication. So those are obviously right in my alley, but if you are weak in woo, for example, especially when you're trying to get a job, you know, or land that job, sometimes you do have to turn on your woo a little bit and, you know, explain who you are and what you do and how you can work with people, you know. So just looking at those different tools can really help you. There's tendencies, and some of these are free. I think I did include some free links, except for the strength finders. They do charge you for that, but it's really valuable to help with getting an understanding of who you are and what you do. Just a couple of fun facts for your information. If you've never Googled yourself, I highly recommend that you do. You don't know what's out there, but you can, you know, uncover some things. That if there's like, you know, maybe somebody else that's, I actually had this happen before where somebody else had the same name as I did, same age, but they were supposed to be arrested when they were found. Yeah, that was crazy. Fortunately, I did not have tattoos all over me, so it was not me. But I went and Googled and realized that this person with the same name as me, you know, has a huge rap sheet, right? I'm like, that's not me. But, you know, see what's out there under your name, because that's what HR people are going to do. They're going to Google you and understand who you are and uncover anything about you, right? And 75% of HR departments are required to search job applicants online. So what happens in Vegas stays on Facebook, right? And then, of course, 75% of US recruits and HR professionals have rejected candidates based on information they have found online. So again, really important to uncover that, right? A couple more fun facts. 92% of people trust recommendations from individuals. Even if they don't know who they are and they get a recommendation, that's 92%, right, of a recommendation. So if you refer, that's what's going to be.
And so this might be important for the LinkedIn aspect, right?
Yeah,
because people say, oh, I don't need a recommendation. But actually, when you're looking for that job or trying to get, you know, that interview, those recommendations actually might come in.
I love looking at those recommendations on job applicants to see what other people had to say about them, you know, what experiences they had before, because that can uncover a lot and reveals, you know, what people really truly think. It's coming from somebody else, not their own, you know, it's not them having to toot their own horn or pat themselves on the back. It's somebody else that said something about this person, you know. And yeah, of recruiters, 95% believe that the job market will remain or become more competitive, so you don't stand out online, your competition will. So what can you do to create a portfolio page or a website, even if it's just a landing page? There's several free websites out there you can create. So when we have our creatives, they submit their portfolios to us and give us examples, work examples and samples, right? So maybe there's projects that you've worked on or numbers of things that you've done that you have made things better. Put it all on your website or on your Facebook page or something that can allow these people who are recruiting you to look that up about you, right? And consistency is key. It takes 5 to 7 times for someone to remember a brand. Same thing for a person, right? If you want to stand out, do things to get your name in front of them, whether it's following their Instagram on the company page, or if it's, you know, following the company, like what can you do to get these people to see your name so that they remember who you are and you make an impression on them in some way. So conclusion, we've created a website, themarketingexpedition.com. It's for marketing directors, job seekers. It's for people who need to help build any kind of brand, whether it's a personal brand or business brand or employee or your culture. Your brand is your culture, right? So themarketingexpedition.com is one resource for you. We've made it very cost effective to do, and the other thing is that on bi-weekly, we are having marketing virtual meetups. So I've had job seekers and recruiters on the virtual meetups, and it was kind of a match made in heaven because here's somebody who's looking for a job, and here's a recruiter that helps, you know. But we've also had employers and employees, you know, that are on the virtual meetups that then can refer other people to, hey, you know, so-and-so is looking for a job. I know my time's wrapped up here. So just some other things that are happening, themarketingexpedition.com, we said, the virtual networking, peppershock.com/events. We have a free private Facebook group, the Marketing Expedition members group. You're certainly welcome to join us on the group. Listen to podcasts from the people that we are interviewing. And then if you want any time with me, you're welcome to book some time. I can give you 15 minutes and we can chat about your situation, how we can improve, and how we can help you market your brand. And then that's probably all I can share for right now, and we'll go from there. So there you have it.
Well, I mean, we covered a lot of, you know, a lot of great information when it comes to personal brand. I do have a question, Ray. When it comes to personal brand, how is it too late to start your personal brand? If someone's in a career transition, is it too early? Does it matter?
It's a great question. Yeah. So it's never too late, right? It's always interesting to me when people say, well, I've never had a LinkedIn page, or I've never had a Facebook page, or I've never done any of this. But now I'm finally, have to market myself because I've been laid off, and so now I need to find a new job, right? So those are some things that we can help you do and uncover ways to get yourself out there more, right? The 5 hours I was talking about, like getting recommendations and referrals and all of those things. So yeah, no, I would say it's never too late, and it's also never too late to continue to improve upon your brand and develop yourself as a person and your skill set, right? The more skills you have and the more you can, refine and hone those skills, the more marketable you can be, because then you're specializing in what you can do well.
That's right. And again, you mentioned it earlier, the whole purpose of your personal brand when it comes to finding that next job is you're competing with so many people, and personal brand definitely matters, and it helps you elevate yourself to the top to hopefully secure that next job. But it should stick with you even after that job. That brand goes with you, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, and we didn't really even talk about some of the things that we can cover next time, but just, thinking about when you were in the job interview, what you're wearing, what you're saying, what you're doing, the voice the tonality that you want to portray, all of those things matter, right? And even the colors that you want to wear, and sometimes people will match the brand color of the company that they want to work for. Ours is orange, so I've had employees, potential employees, wear orange because they wanted to support the brand, right? And show that they could be in alignment with it. Anyway, so there's lots of things to think about and uncover and do, but hopefully that just gave you a little bit of a snapshot of what you need to think about when it comes to your personal brand.
Well, and there's no better person to talk about personal brand than yourself, Ray Allen, and Peppershock Media. Again, so there's so many resources out there. It's on the screen if you want to get in touch with Peppershock, or go to their website to find out more of these great resources. Again, we will be replaying this later, so if you missed a few of those links or want to go back and watch, we will replay this and post it on idahocareerfair.com in the coming days, so you could look out for that. Ray, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is great. Great resource that you're doing here for everyone.
Well, and you provided a lot of great information today, and hopefully that was helpful for the job seekers and the viewers at home. So this concludes our Mainstage seminars for today, but our event is not done. We have our networking rooms that are going to go live here in about 15 minutes on idahocareerfair.com. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at idahocareerfair.com. We're going to walk you through, so for those viewers at home, we will walk you through quickly on how to get to these networking rooms. So if you go on the landing page, which you're going to see here shortly, on idahocareerfair.com, this is the home page. You'll want to scroll down and you will see the banner. Click here to enter the virtual job fair. Go ahead and click on the virtual job fair. This will take you to our virtual live event today. And this information is really important. We have the Mainstage schedule that you can look for the resources that we just had, but participating companies. These are all the companies that are here at 1 o'clock today, all virtually for you. And you could open up that document and you could go through more about these companies, the descriptions, how to apply directly to the jobs that they're going to be talking about today. So really important. So you can learn about the companies, their jobs, how to hire, their contact information. Some of these companies are giving you their direct line to their recruiter or HR person, but all this is available. Now, if we go back to the website, we'll want to check at the bottom of this website, you're going to see these networking rooms. So these breakout sessions. So we have networking room 1, for example, which is sponsored by Simplot. On the right-hand side, you're going to see the companies that will be participating and what time they will be going. So all you have to do to interact with these companies is click on the image to the left. And what it will do, it'll open up a Zoom meeting. You'll be able to directly go in. There's no passwords required. And you're going to be able to hear these companies. They're going to talk about their company, their culture, the jobs that they have available, how to apply, and to answer any questions that you have regarding these jobs. Really great information. We got a lot of great companies. Again, all these companies today and all these networking rooms are hiring today. So I encourage you to participate in these networking rooms. You could jump in and out as much as you would like and throughout the day. And the added benefit, we will be recording all of these breakout sessions. So if there's a conflict where you have two companies and you wanted to join both of them, don't worry, we'll record these and we'll play them back to you after today's over. So again, thank you for joining us on the Idaho Virtual Job and Career Fair today. Again, we would rather be in person, but we are at least thankful you joined us virtually. Hopefully it was a valuable session for you. I want to thank our sponsors, specifically TDS for sponsoring the Mainstage, also Atlas Staffing, Express Employment Services, Simplot, Continuum Global Services, Select Events Staffing, and Jobu Jobs. Without their support, we wouldn't have been able to have this event today. So thank you, sponsors, for making this event possible. We also have another upcoming job fair. Hopefully this one will be live. It's going to be on August 12th at the Nampa Civic Center. Again, if this will be in person, so if you are looking for a job and you want to talk to a lot of these companies, you could meet us in person at the Nampa Civic Center from 3:30 to 6:30, again on August 12th. If you would want more information or to register for this event, this live in-person event, go to idahocareerfair.com, and this is where we also post all the updates regarding any of our future events. And I believe Ray Allen will actually be a guest speaker to talk about some additional topics at that live event. So again, be sure to register for that. That concludes our show, but please be sure to stick around for our live networking sessions that begin in 10 minutes. So choose your company that you want to interact and hear from. Thank you for attending today's virtual Idaho Job and Career Fair. I'm Nick Aldinger, and we will see you next time. Thank you.